Good evening and welcome to BBC Newsline. A senior doctor says it's been the most difficult Christmas on record for out-of-hours GP services. Dr Tom Black, who chairs the British Medical Association here, says a record number of patients have been attending GPs. Hospitals are also reporting mounting pressures. Figures released by the Department of Health show that nearly 2,000 people attended emergency departments in a 24-hour period yesterday, with more than 330 of those waiting 12 hours to be seen. Dr Black says the situation is even worse than during the pandemic.
As a single example, on Christmas Eve last year, there were 158 calls to the out-of-hours service here in the West. This year it was 640. So that's more than 4 times as many calls on that particular day. And then through Christmas and the bank holiday Monday and Tuesday, the numbers of calls have been averaging over 600 per day. That's just in the West.
Pope Francis has asked for prayers to be said for his predecessor, saying he is very sick. The Vatican says Pope Benedict, who is 95, is receiving constant medical attention. The head of the Catholic Church in Ireland, Archbishop Eamon Martin, took to social media to ask people here to remember the former Pope. Newly released state papers from the Republic show the former Taoiseach Bertie Ahern turned down a request from the Ulster Unionist leader at the time, David Trimble, for an inquiry into the 1970 arms crisis in the Republic. Our Dublin correspondent Shane Harrison has more.
1997 and 1998, a period with 2 relatively new Prime Ministers, Bertie Ahern and Tony Blair. And a time when the 2 governments were encouraging Republicans to deliver an IRA ceasefire to allow all-party negotiations to start ahead of what would culminate in the Good Friday Agreement. Confidence building was an issue, and in January 1998, Tony Blair agreed to set up the Savile inquiry into what happened on Bloody Sunday in Londonderry in January 1972. 13 people were shot dead by the Parachute Regiment while attending a civil rights march. Not too long afterwards, a tribunal headed by Lord Widgery cleared the soldiers and the British government. The newly released state papers give an insight into the reaction of the late David Trimble to the establishment of Savile. Almost as a quid pro quo, he wanted Bertie Ahern to set up a similar inquiry into the 1970 arms crisis. In May of that year, the then Taoiseach Jack Lynch sacked 2 senior ministers, Neil Blaney and Charles Haughey, for their alleged involvement in illegal attempts to import guns into the Republic. Both men stood trial, but were cleared by a jury. But back to the 1990s, and the then Taoiseach Bertie Ahern said no to David Trimble, on the grounds that the Irish government saw no equivalence between the 2 events. The state papers say he was of the view that the victims of Bloody Sunday suffered their fate at the hands of those whose duty it was to protect them, and that suffering was compounded by the injustice of the Widgery report, while the Republic's government, far from covering up the arms crisis, exposed facts in the most public way. The Savile inquiry would later report none of the Bloody Sunday victims was armed, contrary to the soldiers' claims. Shane Harrison, BBC Newsline, Dublin.
Well, with a look at what the weather has in store for us over the next few days, here's Jeff.
Hello, good evening to you. Well, the theme of westerly showers set to continue for the next few days. We get some clear skies overnight. That means quite a cold night with lows of 1 to 4 degrees. And then tomorrow, those showers will continue. We get a band of slightly more organised rain coming through during the first part of the morning. Behind it, something a little bit drier and brighter, though. So some afternoon sunshine on Thursday, highs of 6 or 7 degrees. But that westerly flow set to continue with our weather as we head into Friday. This bigger band of rain comes through. It should clear out of the way quite quickly, and then a slot of something drier and brighter. But again, the breeze picks up and the showers come through. Highs of 7 to 10 degrees on Friday. And generally, as we head into the new year, we will see those temperatures on the rise just a little.
Well, that is it for now. Our next television news is at 6:25 in the morning. Thanks for being with us. Good night.